I went through the phase where like all I did was work. Everyone wants it and we've got it. The grid can shut down and we can go without power for a week, but it's all good because we've got car batteries that are running our house. I do put time into myself now where I didn't before. Then you're 50 and you're still doing it.
What is an opportunity and what is a distraction?
That's a very good question.
You're about 20 years into your construction industry career journey. You've got iElectrical, Banton, V2 Grid. I'm starting to believe that fossil fuels fear you. What is your lifestyle empire? Explain it for me.
Yeah, look, iElectrical, 8 years ago. Just me, took on an apprentice, then all of a sudden COVID hit and there was just a surplus of construction work and away we went, really. I think we had 6 at the start of COVID and then we ended up with about 27 at the end of it.
It's about double that now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're about almost 50 now.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's been a great journey. It's hard. Today's harder than I've ever, dealt with.
But you get to choose your hard now, don't you?
I feel like now we're at a point where we do choose, yeah, and we can, we are a bit more selective about what we want to do and who we want to deal with. Whereas, when you're at the start, you do spend a lot of time just working because you need to work.
It's brute force, isn't it?
Yeah, you just need to, you can't turn people down. And today we still struggle to turn opportunities down. But we also need to be realistic with what we can manage and who our ideal client is.
When we dedicate our career to wanting to be of service, it's very hard to say no to people.
Yeah.
In whatever capacity it is. It gets very difficult to turn things down.
100%.
How have you managed to grow a large electrical company and then migrate to some different opportunities, some different areas? How did you set up your job role? I want to kind of operationalize your responsibilities from iElectrical to Banton.
Yeah, so it's a good question. We sort of got to a point where the Banton came out of nowhere. We got some opportunities around the electric vehicle solutions and charging solutions and trying to really work out the best way to manage it for clients because it's such a new space that people just genuinely don't understand it commercially. Mm-hmm. Residentially, with that sort of stuff, it's kind of a glorified PowerPoint in a way. So our focus there was always around the commercial client and rolling out opportunities where they actually needed to consider like power supplies. Some of these things would charge your cars in 15 to 20 minutes and you need like more power than the entire site already has just to do that, and trying to educate or at least plan to be able to do something like that was quite a task for an individual that doesn't have that background. Mm-hmm. So that's where I saw the opportunity coming and where I wanted to sort of like diverse away with iElectrical. So with iElectrical, probably at a capacity level still, and I was still trying to do 100% here and 100% here.
At your capacity from a managing director's perspective?
Probably, yeah. And I was starting to feel the burn and I was probably letting down my team over at iElectrical as well. Just because although I'd work at night or on weekends, sometimes they needed me at 12 till 4 during the workday and I'd be like fully focused on Banton and I wouldn't give them what they needed, and I could start to see frustration and things creeping into my senior staff. So I had a pretty deep thought about what I needed to do to continue that constant because, that is my OG baby.
Yep.
And
it's your it's your legacy.
It is.
It's a foundational thing. The first business you build is another child, the first child usually.
It is. It's the first child, but it's also my actual childs. You know, they both say that they want to work there.
Yep.
So, you know, it's something that me and Dominique would love to see them come up into.
Which is probably a really a good point to hit on that. I hear a lot of people say, particularly in the consulting space, like I want to build the company to X so that I can sell and then.
Yep.
And it's quite interesting and refreshing to see yourself, and also through my own scenario, that you don't have to build it to sell. You can still keep the legacy alive, and you can still keep your finger on the pulse, but you don't have to do it for 100% of your time.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's powerful to be able to talk about, you know, third generation, second, third generation. You know, we might not be always here to hear about the third and fourth generations, but like if it keeps moving down and that legacy stays on, it's like, you know, Matt and Dominique Downie started that business in 2016, and all of a sudden, you know, it's 3016.
There's the pixelated picture of you guys on the wall in, you know, 30, 40 years time.
Yeah, exactly. On a canvas.
Exactly. Yeah, on a canvas.
But yeah, so I that's the sort of thing. It's like I had to try and work out how that keeps going. So we went down the line of thinking, okay, we need to restructure a bit at the high level, our leadership team, which we had done, and then sort of found like even if we did do that, we probably needed to put like a general manager in, so then we did that as well.
This is on the journey to freeing up your time so that you can really pursue something, almost the next phase.
Yeah.
Yep,
exactly. So, you know, the idea was for the general manager is that there was going to be a handover period, but then I wasn't going to be there as often. You know, we have weekly catch-ups still, but I wasn't always there. And he was going to take that over. And we actually got him from a client. He was a client, and he wanted to come and, you know, experience the iElectrical. He loved the experience from a client side. He wanted to be, you know, on our side of the fence.
He wanted to join the orange and
he's got no electrical background, but he's joined. He's got good business background, and yeah, so now he's joined the team, and it's allowed me to sort of free up quite a bit. I sort of, you know, still keep my finger in from a BD role in a way. You still got lots of people that know you.
So you can still be the face of the brand.
Yeah, they still tie you to iElectrical. I'll probably never lose that, but the opportunities can take it back in.
So you don't actually have to work in your own company as far as a deliverables role goes.
No.
How did you go about finding a general manager that wasn't or didn't have an electrical background? How did you get over that mental hurdle? Because we all know that the guys that come up through the ranks make the best project managers and the best site supervisors and the best off the tools guys, because they understand the work intimately. A general manager doesn't have to understand the work intimately.
That's right.
But there's a hurdle to cross there.
Yeah, so that was part of our restructure. Was our project manager went to a commercial manager and is now focusing on future works. We've had our service manager and one of our supervisors rise to be a project manager, and then we hired an operations manager who has a technical background, a very, very strong one. And so he essentially runs our managers, our operations team, whereas our general manager runs the business. So technically, he doesn't need to know how to put that PowerPoint in or how to, you know, even put a ladder on the side of the wall.
Yep.
He needs to know how to punch numbers and get the...
He needs to intimately understand three-way forecasting.
Yeah, so...
Because the project managers don't.
No.
And to their credit, they don't need to.
No, they need to know their jobs. They need to know their job's making money, that they're doing it efficiently.
They need to focus on gross profit.
That's right, they're GP, and he's EBITDA.
I'm toying with this notion at the moment of economic surplus. So many people will reach out to me, or I'll have conversations with people about their next thing, the next idea, or their $1 million idea is almost always the way it's phrased.
Yeah.
I've got this idea. I need to do this, and I fall victim to it significantly as well. You know, there's always an idea that pops in your head. You think I could pull that off. How do we know what is an opportunity and what is a distraction?
That's a very good question. Yeah, I guess that's where Banton and VitaGrid has really popped up as a. I think that the way I've been able to distinguish those as an opportunity is of where not only South Australia and Australia's at, but where the world's at around, you know, zero emissions, going green and all green energy, climate control, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's where firsthand, from like a Banton point of view, I've worked with iElectrical with clients that didn't have the offerings that Banton offer, and they needed it. And that's where we pivoted to try and find that opportunity and create that opportunity, rather than potentially take an idea that was could potentially be a crazy idea.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like there's typically like 4 kind of broad growth strategies. You can go more of the same service to the same market, which is dominate one space. You can do additional services to the same market, which is the one-stop shop setup. Yep. You can do the same service to multiple locations, which is the perfecta model, and copy-paste it down into other states for us in Australia. And then there's the new service to new market, which is typically the hardest one. It looks as though you've picked the hardest one, but as we're getting further into the conversation, it's not as though you just went, renewable energy is the new thing, so we're just going to do that, and we're going to move away from the dirty, ugly businesses. It's more that you were acutely aware of our business is here. If only there was somebody to provide that solution for the client, and then you're looking at that and going, well, there's an opportunity there that nobody can see.
Yep.
That's how Banton came about.
That's spot on. And Banton is definitely focusing nationally, whereas iElectrical is you know, more so South Australia. So Banton's, I guess, more of the consult management arm. So in South Australia, we contract electricians like iElectrical. In WA, we contract electricians, and we run it. We consult for the client, and then we project manage it for the client. Make sure they get what they need, not just burnt by someone who comes in and says, "I've seen this, let's just do this," and it doesn't actually work for them, because there's a lot of that's happened over the last 2 years. Now, as things start to evolve and become bigger, and electric vehicles are more, their growth is, is
continuing. Very much the norm, isn't it? And it's becoming very mainstream. It's not a surprise to see someone drive a Tesla.
No, it's not. And the thing is, now there's more people doing it, so there's more demand, more power demand. So, for a public space, someone put one charger in, but there's not enough to now put in a second one, because they just didn't think it through or didn't offer the
touching on earlier, there's not enough feed from mains to the site, and then the whole thing has just been a total cock-up.
The most expensive thing is getting more power provisions to a site.
Well, they essentially have to do the same job again, don't they? Rip out all the work they started.
SA Power Networks, new transformer, bigger cables, new consumer main run.
All from poor advice.
Yeah.
From poor consultation.
Yeah.
What is it like to move from the service model, as in physical doing, to the project management model, or the direct-to-client model?
Yeah, it's
more information-based, really, isn't it? Because you have to educate.
Yeah, a lot more information-based. It's probably I'm probably enjoying it, to be honest. Like I was very hands-on. I liked it when I was an electrician. It was hands-on. That's all I knew. But now I'm really enjoying this, because I do like educating. I do like being able to work with someone to come up with that, final product that they're like, this is
Something
working.
that didn't otherwise exist.
Yeah, and this is what they needed. And then getting that recommendation, use Matt from Banton because he knows what he's talking about, and he's not just like my thing is it's not the quick sale, it's like the long-term relationship. And even with what we're doing for a lot of people, it's a lot of disruptive works with underground, civils, concreting, bitumen. You're almost taking up car parks and almost
Particularly for clients like On the Run and a few others of that nature, where it's 24/7.
Yeah, 100%. So we're factoring in future provisions for future growth in the space as well. Whereas the last thing might cost an extra $5,000 now, but if they redo it in 2 years' time, it's an extra $50,000. It's quite considerable. So I'm very mindful about trying to get the end game together and offer that and try and get that repeat service, like with what we tried to do or what we do with iElectrical. And yeah, then the ongoing maintenance is a way that we've almost just got like a subscription base. It's just ongoing, and it's just a set fee every month, every 6 months, every 12 months. And we've got a revenue that just comes from basically a set fee rather than a call out or an emergency or per hour.
Yep. Just comes under the package.
Yep.
This is a selfish question. You've premeditated your removal of your operational duties. You've brought the general manager into iElectrical. How did you initially get pen to paper on Banton? Or were you throwing every ball in the air at the same time and then realised by force that you had to stop one to do the other?
Yeah, yep.
Was it a perfect chronological general manager in, stop, next day stand in front of the whiteboard, pen, start?
Nah, it wasn't. I started Banton in, I think, about November last year, so about 12 months ago. And it was the juggle, like constant juggle. And the general manager started early July this year. So it was,
You were balls deep.
Yep. Literally. And it got to a point where it was like I was burning out, like I really was. And I was getting stressed out and frustrated, but I could see my staff were as well. So that's where, the light bulb moment. And it's like, me being me, is like, this is what we need to do.
Make the call.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because you've been premeditating it.
Yeah.
So it's not just a rash decision.
No. And I think I've got ambitions for iElectrical still to continue to grow. And I think I was actually hindering that because that's where I didn't have the focus. And I didn't have good focus on anything because I was like messy.
That theme's come up a lot with similar guys, is that as soon as you lose focus of the main thing, it starts to get watered down.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. It's so true, and we could probably see now at iElectrical, like things are on the way back up because we've got a team that is just focusing, and the leader is just focusing on iElectrical.
Awesome.
And then vice versa, Banton's doing the same. Mm-hmm. We've just hired a PM as well, project manager. So we've got, 2 of us now there. And again, we're starting to trend up. It's a bit of a slow space still, but it's all sort of going in the right direction. And
it's that single focus, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, Vita Grid still there, but we're really in startup pilot phase on that one. So different model again. It was very much a product and subscription rather than a service so much. We're essentially selling a box and then an ongoing subscription. So again, it's a different model from both.
Yep. Quickly explain to us V2 Grid.
So Vita Grid is we've basically been working on developing the first bidirectional charger in Australia. There has been some before, but it's been discontinued, and with it's a model of a plug that only works with 2 vehicles, whereas the one we've done is basically the other 90% of vehicles. But the technology is so new that it's almost like the chicken before the egg syndrome, where we've got the charger.
Who's going to come first? Will it be uptake? How long can we
Yeah.
sink coin into it before?
So everyone wants it, and we've got it. We're just about to launch our first pilot site on Hutt Street, the old service station that's there. And we've got a couple of vehicles that are helping us, but there's not many OEMs that, the Fords and the Kias and the Hyundais that are actually enabled it for Australia yet.
Okay.
So we need to get them on board to be like, this technology's here, like turn it on, and then away we go.
So you have to liaise with vehicle manufacturers, or endeavour to liaise with
Try
vehicle
to, yeah,
manufacturers
yeah,
to work up through the ranks to see who's going to deliver the software to us.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's like we can get hold of Kia Australia and Ford Australia. It's then when you want to go to Kia in Korea, it's like, good luck. And BYD in China, it's like, good luck. It's too big. And little Matt Downie and James Murray in Adelaide are like, who? Who? VTIG what?
It'll come though.
Yeah.
It'll come.
Oh, look, we're getting good traction. We're getting some really good traction. I think the key thing that we've identified with that business is we have the technology on display. It's a showroom and we can show it, and then people will actually be able to see that it's able to be done. And those will start to turn
in
on.
the household, because you're giving a great, I don't know if it's analogy or if it's the practicality of it, but the two-way charging, why would anyone want that at their house?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and this is, go back to that that opportunity versus that crazy idea. I mean, I think everyone, as an electrician, you talk to everyone that you see, and it's, my electricity bill's so expensive. Like, how do I get it down? I've got solar, and it's still expensive, and I'm the same. I've got solar battery, and I feel like it's still expensive. So from a homeowner or a tenant's point of view, you can buy this product, have it installed, and you can basically use it like your electric vehicle could be a home battery on wheels. So you're using it to drive to work, you're using it to drive home, pick up the kids, go to sports, whatever. But then you can go home, and the peak periods are generally between that sort of 5 and 9 p.m. And that's when electricity is the most expensive. So you plug your car in, you discharge to your home, you run your home when your aircon's on, your oven's on, your dishwasher, your washing machine, whatever, all the lights, the TV, and you minimise and lower your usage by using your battery power.
For someone who's not electricity minded, power usage, amp hour minded. How is it? So there is ample amp hours. Is that the right terminology? No. There's ample power in a EV, electric vehicle, to power your house for 4 hours with everything running. With plenty of juice left over for tomorrow to get to work and everything else.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why an electric vehicle is so powerful. You get a home battery and say it's 10 kilowatts. The Kia EV9 has 100 kilowatts. So
okay. And a Kia, how much is a Kia EV9? Because a home battery is pretty bloody expensive.
There's different models, but they range from about 80 to 130.
Cool.
So they're not cheap, but they are very nice cars.
Yep.
So
but if you can put home batteries in, like, you're up for, depending on what you want,
15.
Yeah, 10 to 30, depending on who's doing it and how it's getting in.
Exactly.
So you're halfway there with a electric vehicle, if that's the full renewable model that you're going to run for your house, which is the way it's going anyway. Yeah,
there's a lot of trials happening now about electrification and electrifying the home, taking away gas, electric cooktops, electric ovens.
Well, when was the last time you stoked the stovetop to put a couple of bits of wood in under the stovetop before the kettle?
Yeah, exactly.
There's going to be a natural progression, and we're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's starting. I think 2025 is going to be a big year for it. I really do. like I said, the chicken before the egg side scenario. Like we're probably the chicken right now, and we're basically ready. And then we just need the egg to, hatch basically, and
you got
allow
to break
us
a
to
few
start.
eggs to make an omelette.
Yeah,
So,
so
someone's going to have to start.
we're not far off. So it's very exciting. And that's that's the other thing. It's been a fair bit of time spent there as well. But I guess the phase that's in is allowing me to just dabble in that when I need to, and just to keep it trickling along, because we're kind of in a development stage rather than like we're flat out running.
We're waiting for the market on that.
Yeah.
I spoke to your wife yesterday. I don't know if you know or not.
Yeah.
She filled me in on some family mantras and also a tagline.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that you had a tattooed hashtag tagline, whether you have it embedded on you or not. It's keep the lights on.
Yes.
It's so on brand for today's chat.
Yeah.
What does it mean and why?
I think to be honest, that came around in COVID. That sort of we're here to keep the lights on type thing from a business point of view.
So it's grassroots and iElectrical.
Yeah.
That's where it came on,
Yeah.
where the lights came on.
Yeah. And, you think back to the pandemic where everyone was like, it's going to end. The world is ending. Like, we can't. We're going into lockdown for like 3 days, And so, but we, from a business point of view, and I'm sure a lot of others, were starting to worry. What are we going to do? Are we going to be in business still? So luckily, as a essential service, we came up with a bit of a campaign that Dominique did that was about being there for South Australians to keep their lights on. So I guess that's where it started. And it's kind of never really left us now. And, I get some of my mates that are smart asses giving me, oh, here he is, keeping the lights on, that sort of thing. But I guess like from a family and all that sort of point of view, I guess we just try our best to, and sometimes we use that as a bit of a
grounding saying.
Yeah,
with Adelaide's electricity set up infrastructure, I mean, it's pretty. It fits in pretty well with Banton and V2 Grid because we have blackouts left, right, and centre, and we need the guys to keep the lights on.
That's it, and that's. I think that's our biggest pitch with V2 Grid Australia is that it literally like the grid can shut down and we can go without power for a week, but it's all good because we've got car batteries that are running our house. And as long as the sun's shining, the solar's recharging your car. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you got to worry about your car completely going flat as well. Look, there's going to be issues if it's raining at the same time and we're not getting much sun.
Straight back to fossil fuels, baby.
Yeah, we'll get the coal generators going again.
Stoke her up.
Yeah, but I mean, that it's unlikely that that's ever going to happen. The most likely times we're going to have blackouts is during the hot periods where we got sun. So
when the grid's under stress.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to stop you right there. This has got you thinking about your own business, then you're not alone. I work with founders to develop and implement the right growth strategies, and we focus on what you truly desire from your business and build a plan to bring these goals to life. Our work together is pretty fast-paced, and we want to reduce the opportunity cost of making the wrong decision. It's my job to show managing directors how to lead their company with educated confidence. If you want to chat about your options, shoot me the DM mentor to my Instagram @sam.ackland, and let's get back to the show. I want to know a bit more about the family man and the family mantra. I am sure you've got plenty of examples where this has been dropped. It doesn't cost anything to be kind, or just the be kind.
Yeah.
What's the go? What are you instilling in the children?
Oh, look, I think I've learned a lot over the last 8 years, especially from business. And, since my first son was born 6 years ago, you kind of learn that it doesn't cost much to actually be kind. Adelaide's a very small place. You know, you do the wrong thing by someone or do the wrong thing by something, you know, it's remembered or people hear about it. And I think, you know, one thing that Dominique's always been really hot on is being kind to people. Sometimes, you know, I say she's overkind, but, you know, that's her.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and whereas sometimes I get stuck, or in the past I've been stuck with just maybe being a little bit blunt, and that's probably come from being so drawn into like work all the time that you're kind of just trying to get things done all the time, and when people need your time, you kind of are a bit blunt back instead of like actually taking the time to give them what they need and be kind.
To think about it instead of being confrontational.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm a very confrontational person, but I think like you're just like, that's the answer. I'm moving back to what I need to do.
And a job going bad can really bring the worst out in you.
Yeah.
Where was the company at when your first son was born? What was your life like then? So we have a lot of dads that are listening that want some clarity around this is normal.
Yeah.
Were you a managing director then, or were you a
I was
glorified project manager?
Yeah, I was probably still on the tools as well, like everything. So he was born in 2018, so he would have been a year and a half old, I reckon, or maybe 2 years old.
As you'd moved to the leadership role.
As I made myself transition into more of an office-based role, because I think the problem was I'd leave at 6 a.m. to go start that tradie day, but my day then I'd be home at 5 p.m.-ish, so I can help with some dinner or bed and bath, and then I'd go and then do the admin, and which I think is very normal. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it's normal.
I've got a big vendetta, and everybody listening, and yourself included, knows where I'm going with this. I've got a big vendetta against this work-life balance movement. It really fucking grinds my gears. The notion that you can leave school, just to paint an age picture, buy an iMac and move to Bali and work 10 minutes a day and make $1 million and buy a Bugatti is painting a really incorrect expectation for how life is. Do you believe in this work-life balance movement, and to what degree?
I do believe in it, but it takes a bit to get there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm starting to toy with the idea that work-life balance is on a decade time horizon as opposed to on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So if you do want to create something truly meaningful, whether it's a legacy company that your children's children can work in or be a part of, then there are some sacrifices that will inevitably need to be made. People that are wired like us as well are wired to continue doing, and they're methodical activities. It's not just doing for doing's sake. But we are getting to the point where both of us are on the other side of the really, really hard stuff, which is the trading time for money component, where you are just doing volume. Do you agree that there's that work-life balance comes back once you have achieved a certain level?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
What does the level look like, or what does
what does your balance now look like? Because we all know what a 70-hour week looks like.
Yeah.
We all know how to work 6.5 days at 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
What does Mr. Matt Downie's lifestyle look like now?
Look, it's I'm a lot more picky and choosy around what I do and how I do it now, but I'm never off, if you know what I mean. Like I went through the phase where like all I did was work, and I got and funny, I had sleep apnea, and I was just so run down. And then I started tracking my sleep and things like that, and actually found out that my best sleep was like between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. And I was generally getting up at 5 to then leave the house at 6. So now, I guess the beauty of what I have now is that I actually probably get up at 6:30, and I'd probably leave the house around 7:30, 8. But I would, and maybe I might go to the gym or go sit in the sauna, or I might do that after. But I would then still potentially, if I need to catch up on some things, do it at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
if I needed to.
Yep. But you're selective about, you're holding space to do things that are important to you for your health and wellness. And it's not just about doing that from the start, but this is like giving ourselves some youth back.
Yeah.
It's trying to reverse the aging clock a little bit.
I haven't missed one of my kids' school shows since they started going. I do put time into myself now, or I didn't before. And like, you know, you work so hard and you end up, basically I ended up just binging. You know, my Friday would come around and you'd just be like, right, let's have a beer. And then it was 20 beers.
It's the only thing that stops the brain from ticking.
Yeah.
And you can be more, unfortunately, some people show up as a better parent after a couple beers because they can't think about work. It no longer sits top of mind.
Yeah, that's it. So, but then now I've sort of, that was like my self-medication, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And then, whereas now I barely drink, and but I make time for myself. And some days I just have enough and I just go home, and I've got a little property with animals and stuff, so I go out there and do a bit of farm work and stuff, so I can actually because I get enjoyment out of it. Otherwise, I'll boil and get frustrated with things, and I just lead back down that path. And
have you actively written down, journaled, drawn the things that give you energy and the things that take away your energy, and archetyped your life or architect your life in a way that suits you? Or are you just doing it by feel?
Yeah. I'm not really much of a reader or a writer.
Okay.
So
you don't go pen to paper.
Nah.
And you don't care for anyone else's handiwork.
Nah. Look, I've read a couple of books and I read a chapter here or there with my kids when they go to bed, but I'm just, I guess I know what's good. I know what works for me now, and I know when I need it.
Which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean a 4:15 a.m. alarm and ice bathing for 30 minutes and all the other woohoo Instagram highlight reels.
You won't catch
it's
me
what
doing
works
that.
for you.
Yeah. I do the, so I'll go to Next Gen and sit in this, I might walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes, and then I'll go sit in the sauna for 20, and then I'll sit in the cold plunge for 5, and then I'm done. I feel like a different person just after that. I do, from the sleep apnea, it has affected my fitness levels. So being able to exercise for a duration at a high level and then not be absolutely screwed for the next 2 days. I can't do that well yet, but I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to build back up to that.
Get back into the conditioning of it.
Yeah.
Are there some, not safe space, but calendar blockouts and things that you were non-negotiables for your life? My wife and I have started only recently, the past 4 or 5 months, going out for lunch on Friday.
Yeah.
And it has been such an important thing for us to keep our communication up, because we don't talk when the kids are around.
Yeah.
Because you have to talk to the kids and entertain them constantly.
You're not allowed to talk to each other.
It has been awesome. We've been out to, plenty of different restaurants, and it's been great to just talk and plan the weekend and what are we going to do with the kids. And is there anything that you guys hold a space for you personally, or your relationship, or anything that we can learn from that?
We don't have anything sort of fixed, which we probably should do again, because we did. We did get a bit of help. We've just got a bit more from a bit of a nanny role to help with the kids and give us our time a bit.
Which, as our parents would comment, is seen as such a luxury item. How does it help?
Look, it is. I suppose it is, and to be honest, we were very hesitant with doing it because it was kind of like I don't like being seen as that. I'm not like, you know what I mean. Like it's kind of, oh, they've got a nanny. No, I don't like
They're
that.
a bit flash.
Yeah. I'm not really, but it has made a huge difference.
Well, if you're cooking or doing the dishes, cleaning up the house, you're not playing and engaging with the kids. You're like, just go sit on the couch. I need to get all this done.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got someone else to help, then you can get more effective time out.
Yeah, and like we went and had lunch today together, Dominic and I.
Cute.
Which was cute, yeah. And then, but like also, she picks up the kids, and we might work a little bit later because in the morning we've gone to the gym, and we quite often would go there together, then have a coffee afterwards. So yeah, look, it's work. That's definitely work in progress. But the whole we've definitely put a tool in place to allow us to be able to like do our thing, whether it's together
to
or
have a relationship, to be a couple as well.
Yeah, but like even if we're not together doing those things, somehow or not, we're like calling each other. But we've got that time to actually do it, even though we kind of work together all the time and then live together all the time. We kind of like still manage to get a bit of enough space as well, that it's not too much. But I do think we need to get that locked in sort of like date day or date night or something together.
It's good fun.
Yeah.
If you're not reading books, but you're still the leader of 50 plus heads, and you're innovating in spaces that nobody has charted previously, what are you learning? What are you learning right now? Could be personal. It could be tech.
I learn a lot from just having this. Like I'll learn a lot from this discussion.
So you'll go through almost like a network learning.
I'm a deep thinker. Like I'll think about something that you and I would have discussed today, tonight, and tomorrow, and I'll work out how those improvements can come into either my business or my life. I went to a masterclass yesterday. Alan Miltz, have you ever heard of him?
Yep.
He's a genius, and he was so good. But the thing that I took out of it is like we actually do a lot of what he's trying to educate us, like people on. We just don't do it that well. So like I came out of it. I called GM and I was like, I'm coming to the office. We're having a meeting. I've got all these notes on my notepad. We need to go through it because we need to get better.
You're tornadoing.
Yeah. and he walks in, he's like, Matthew. And I was like, you ready for this? He's like, yeah.
This is called operational whiplash.
Yeah.
Where the owner walks in and they're like, everybody stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've just learned something.
Yeah. But that's what I think that's
what was it? Can you tell us what it was?
It was the power of one. Mm-hmm. So, how much 1% makes a difference in business around finances.
Okay. So it's specifically related to finances. Because I've heard it into any department or all things.
It was across the business because it was also about things that individuals can do. And it's just one thing. Like he used the analogy or the example. It's not even an analogy. The example of Leicester City in 2016 when they won the EPL. No one thought they were going to win. A team of just players that played together, salary cap, there's no such thing as a salary cap, but they weren't the Man Uniteds and the
They weren't the heavy hitters.
Yeah. But
they were the roughie.
They were just the 1%ers. And they just all did their little part to make it work.
To bring that back to the lessons from yesterday about 1%ers of finance, this is really... and correct me if I'm wrong, but like if you're looking at your P&L, for example, because it's pretty mainstream, we should all know if we're listening now what a P&L is, that if you're doing, say, $100,000 of revenue, that every gross profit percentage point is worth $1,000 to the bottom line in whichever way it moves. Is that the kind of 1%ers that they were poking on? Was it getting specific in like, if we can manage each line by 1%, we can produce, incremental or great results?
Yeah, basically, he broke it down. There was like 7 levers that management can pull. 1% increase on revenue, 1% increase on what else did he talk about? There was 1% increase just on like debtors like accounts payable.
Yep,
Like, and
to
how
bring
much
cash
of a difference,
forward.
yeah,
Yep.
and the improvement on cash flow and how cash is king. Look, it was 5.5 hours of a lot, but it was the second time I've seen him,
Yep.
and yeah, I just took so much out of it, and that's probably where I do a lot of my learning. I don't do many of those classes actually, but I like dig into like what other people do and how they've done it, like, and it could be at what Elon Musk has done, or it could be what you've done, or it could be, you know, what I've done wrong so far, and like trying to work out what I've done wrong and how do I make it right.
This is your deep thinking
Yeah.
tendencies.
Yeah.
I bet you're the kind of sicko that drives around with no music on.
Yeah.
I bet you drive in silence.
Oh, nah, Triple M all day.
Can you help us define for us success? What's your definition of success?
Oh, I think it's that. I think ultimately it's having a happy life. Like,
What does it really look like?
you work hard, and then you get some reward to be actually now live your life a bit.
So it's about emptying the tank, working as hard as you can
Oh, look, I
on
think
something
you have to,
meaningful.
Yeah, I think you have to. But like, everyone's driven differently. So, did I need to chase 2 other ventures? No. Would I be okay even if I did all the changes at iElectrical? Would I be okay and be able to maybe have more time on for myself or with Dominique? Probably, but
It wouldn't feed your need to
Yeah, I'd
build
be-
and create and grow.
yeah. So, but some people could do that, and they've built their legacy, and now they can live their life. They don't need to take in millions of dollars. It's just enough to like live their life and live it happily, and make sure that your family and your wife and your parents and you get that time, you get to enjoy it rather than working like we did for 5-10 years.
For half a decade of slogging.
Yeah, and then you're 50 and you're still doing it.
Yep. That's the dangerous trap, isn't it? That a lot of people don't have the ability to zoom out for a little bit and work out what they're really trying to create.
Yeah.
And know that this pain doesn't last forever. And it's not necessarily a bad pain.
No, it's not. It's not a bad pain. I think it's a good pain.
On the right time horizon.
Yeah, if you do it properly.
And being in that vortex for too long can have detrimental effects on everybody around you.
100%. Yeah, and I've got I made it very clear to Dominique that starting up these new ventures that there's exit strategies. It's not the baby that
It's not a forever thing.
Yeah, iElectrical will be that. I'd like to be that forever thing, whereas Banton's definitely trying to build that. I guess that national presence where there's ongoing revenue through maintenance and management contracts, and hopefully it gets picked up by someone and I can exit. But
We'll see your face in the paper with dollar figure numeral 2 zeros. Is that what we're going to see with an M behind it? Something in the hundreds of millions.
I mean, look, I wouldn't complain if it was, but at the same time, it's
that way you can take out your capital gains and still be left with enough to buy a boat.
Yeah, that's it. I was down at Holdfast on the weekend and saw some nice boats down there. But no, look, I mean, it's one of those things. It's the same thing. It's like whether it was if you had your life where you are and you've got the luxury now to like really enjoy that. Getting 100 million would be amazing, but like getting 10's amazing as well. So
It's not going to make a massive amount of difference. It's probably going to add more
I think
complexity or more pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, I think also it depends where you want to go next when you're at that stage. Do you want 100 million to like go and buy all this property and become like a property mogul, or do you want to get 10 and just like have a comfortable life with no mortgage and maybe a couple of investment properties for your kids or something, put them through college and, you know.
It seems like it's been a pretty, definitely not an easy road, but a very fruitful path. What sacrifices did you have to make to be here today? What do we not see from the highlight reel?
Yeah. I think like stress levels, you know, the financial stress is always a big one. It's always been a big one for me. And just making sure that's always, you know, dialed in, because I get it, and I do a lot with it now, but for the first 5 years, I was like, I'm a sparky trying to be a business owner.
Having one financial report's enough, let alone working out what the other two do and how they all interact with each other.
Yeah. And bank account, there's money in there, that's good. You know, and compared to now, this is coming in, that's going out, and all these other things that you got to consider, like BASs. And
where did the stress leak out? Did you take it out? How did you cope with it? Did you take it out personally? Did your health take a dive on the way through, or was it relationships, or was it you just abused caffeine and just got it done?
I still abuse
because
caffeine.
there's so many guys that are going to be listening in being like, I'm in my hard period now.
Yeah.
Please shed some light on, like, normalize this for us.
Oh, God, I could tell you what not to do, that's for sure.
Write a list in the show notes.
Yeah, look, like I said before, like it was like you work so hard and your release is like going to the pub with the boys and that kind of gives you that switch off for a tiny bit. And then if you'd go too far, you'd wake up hungover and
That
tired.
makes the next week worse.
And then it makes everything worse. And I was very good at that.
At making things worse?
Making things worse.
Self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Relationship never really had an issue apart from when I did get stressed. I was just not that fun to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty open to that. So that, and you know, that's where, especially when my second child was born, it was like, need to make serious changes now. Yeah.
I saw exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And you, not even external voices directed to you. It's not someone telling you that you need to make massive changes. It's you looking at you going, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to be that guy for that child again. I can do better.
Yeah. But also, like, when you've got one, mum's there, even if dad's not always.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to get two, you kind of, and they get, like, mine are 3 years apart. So it's kind of like when number two was born, it was like number one needed and wanted dad.
Yep.
You know,
they're going into their play era.
Yeah, and that's where it was kind of like for me. And my second child had jaundice when he was born, so he actually did 5 weeks in hospital, and it was kind of like I was meant to have 4 weeks off work, needed to take more off. Then it was like, and Dominique was in hospital with him, so it's kind of like, now I'm doing drop-offs, I'm doing pickups, and it's like, how do I manage this doing what I've been doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to change it. And it financially cost initially, but then
It becomes a way of life.
you just get used to it, but it gets better because that's when you start to get the good times. You know, you get to have fun and you get to enjoy your kids and your wife, and you're manageable, you know.
And you're forced to break out of the cycle of like 6 till 6 at work.
Yeah, now I hate it.
Well, now, like, we're probably getting to the point where we're almost, I don't want to say wise enough, we're smart enough to know that work is not an attendance base, work is an output base.
Yeah.
So if you need to do what you need to do for the family and for yourself, but you can smash 4, 5, 6 hours worth of deep work into 2 and do it well because we're now conditioned to it.
Yeah.
That's the holy grail.
Yeah.
That's where we get our effective hours.
Yeah, and that's probably what I do now. Like, I was on site this morning, then when I had lunch with Dominique, I reckon I did like maybe an hour and a half of work at the office before I came here, and like I'm good till tomorrow now. You know, unless some things pop up. But mind you, like at 7 p.m. tonight, I'll still check my emails if something.
We check in. Just said a last end of the day. Make sure nothing's changed.
Yeah, but my
Still
phone goes
thinking.
off at 8 p.m.
Yep.
Like it goes like I'm still on it because I'll have I might check out Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever.
Yep.
Google stuff, but like I turn my phone off. So if people try and call me, text me, like I don't. It doesn't
the evening
ring.
do not disturb.
Yeah, and it doesn't come back on until 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, it was like it was ringing at night, like like going, oh yeah, far out, answering it, and you just.
Well, then you go back into work mode.
Yeah.
It's like laptop out or go to the office and just. I may as well book it in because no one else is going to do it.
Far out, it's midnight now. Try and go back to sleep, and then when you got sleep apnea, you can't. You struggle to sleep. And sleep well. So yeah.
Matt Downie, I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
Goodbye for now.